It's midday. Good afternoon. You're tuning in listening to the news here on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. I'm Raya Motosho. Now the news in detail. The federal government has urged former President Olusegun Obasanjo not to truncate the 2023 general elections with his allegedly inciting, self-serving and provocative letter on the polls. In a statement in Abuja, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said what the former president cunningly framed as an appeal for caution and rectification was nothing but a calculated attempt to undermine the electoral process and a willful incitement to violence. The minister accused the former president of, in his time, organizing perhaps the worst election since Nigeria's return to democratic rule in 1999. A European Union observer mission has faulted the lack of transparency and operational failures in the Nigerian election. According to its preliminary findings, it said there was confidence in the independence and professionalism of the electoral body during the preparations for the elections, but public trust waned over lack of efficient planning and effective communication in the process, including on the election day, the observer said. Nigerians cast their votes in the presidential and parliamentary general elections on Saturday, February 25th, 2023. Rivers State Coalition Officer for the presidential election in Rivers State, the state's coalition officer, for the presidential election in Rivers State, Professor Charles Adias, has adjourned the collation of results for February 25th, 2023 elections over an alleged threat to his life by unnamed party supporters. The official of the Independent National Electoral Commission, who is also the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Tueke, announced the adjournment Tuesday morning while addressing journalists at the State Collation Center in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. Although the Commissioner of Police of the presidential election in Rivers, Aderemi Adeoye, appealed to the cops to reveal the names of those threatening his life, Adias insisted that he won't proceed until the Resident Electoral Commission in the state addresses some of the issues those threatening him raised, including that faulty bimodal voter accreditation system. As Nigerians await the final outcome of last Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections, the leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, says it is paying keen attention to the ongoing collation of results from different parts of the country. The union said it allows the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conclude the process before making its position on the conduct of the poll known to Nigerians. ASU President Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke said it will be premature to assess the election and performance of the commission now since the process is ongoing. The chairman and chief executive officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, has commended officers, men and women, of the anti-narcotics body for their good conduct, visibility and blocking access to illicit substances during the presidential and National Assembly election at the weekend. The agency, as a member of the Inter-Consultative Committee on Election Security, had deployed almost 10,000 personnel across the country during the election last Saturday, with a situation room at its national headquarters in Abuja for around-the-clock monitoring of the polls through field reports from officers and men spread nationwide. In his reaction to the preliminary reports collated across all the areas, state and zonal commands of the agency, Marwa said he was satisfied with the professional conduct of the NDLEA personnel deployed across the country, the working synergy with other security agencies, and most importantly, ensuring that the electoral process was free from influence of illicit substances. And on the foreign scene, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa says African countries need to shift to renewable energy sources to promote sustainable industrialization. Acting Executive Secretary Mr. Antonio Pedro said this during a panel discussion in Niamey, Niger. The discussion was jointly organized by UNECA and Afrexim Bank ahead of the 9th Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development on February 28th. Meanwhile, the situation in the city of Bakhmut on the eastern front line is becoming more and more difficult. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Russian forces have been trying to take the city for over 6 months. The Ukrainian leader's remarks came as U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned China against arming Russia during a visit to Kyiv on Monday. In sports, Argentina and Paris Saint-Germain forward Lionel Messi has been named Men's Player of the Year at the 2022 Best FIFA Awards. The 35-year-old beats French forward Kylian Mbappe and Karim Benzema to the prize. Messi captained Argentina to World Cup glory in Qatar and scored 27 goals in 49 games for club and country between 2021 and 2022. Barcelona's Alexia Putellas was named Women's Player of the Year. And that's the Citizen FM News at noon. You can follow us online at www.citizenfm.ng or follow us on any of our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The news was brought to you. It was compiled and brought to you by Lawrence Omoite. Thanks for listening. I'm Rayo Motosho. Good afternoon.